Good morning. I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno. A seasoned regulator is the newly appointed Energy Regulation Chief. We'll get to know him and his programs here at the forefront. Attorney Francis Saturnino Juan is now at the helm of the Energy Regulatory Commission to streamline regulatory processes and protect consumers. Backed by years of experience in both policy and operation, he assumes the role with a clear reform agenda aimed at making energy regulation more efficient and accountable. How will Attorney Juan transform these ambitious plans into lasting change for the country? With us this morning is the newly appointed Chairperson of the Energy Regulation Commission, Attorney Francis Saturnino Juan. Good morning, Chairman Nino.
Good morning, Attorney Karen, and good morning to all your televiewers.
And congratulations on your new appointment, Chairman Nino.
Thank you.
So first, we'll want to get to know you better because you're a low-profile technocrat and we couldn't find enough information about you. Mahirap po kayo i-research. So we'll start by making our interview more interesting. We'll have you pick out a category from this little cup and we'll discuss the category you've chosen.
All right.
So pick anything. Okay, sige. Mga surprise categories natin. Okay, first,
surprise.
Flip the switch. So what is this flip the switch about? Okay, one energy reform you will do if given absolute power without red tape. So in relation to our energy sector, what is one energy reform that you would like to do if you were given the absolute power to do it without red tape?
Okay, one is lower the threshold already of contestability so that we can bring down that threshold and we can have more and more end users participate in the contestable market. So they get to choose already their own suppliers of electricity.
Okay. Well, Chief Nino, I know that a lot of people find what you just said highly technical. Ako, naiintindihan ko siya because I practiced energy law as well. But a lot of people don't know yung contestable market, and perhaps you can kind of break this down into something more understandable po, yung contestable market and what this does for consumers.
Okay, so that is the end goal of EPIRA, to introduce competition in sectors where competition is possible. So that is the generation sector and the supply sectors. Before EPIRA, we, the end users, aren't able to choose our supplier. We just rely on our distribution utility where we are connected.
Which the biggest distribution utility we have is Meralco, di ba? Kaya pag tumataas yung presyo, lahat galit
so
si Meralco.
they do the decision-making for us in terms of procurement of supply. But with EPIRA and the introduction of competition in generation and supply, end users now would have the choice. So they can actually switch from their distribution utility to the supply by a retail electricity supplier. So there may be retail electricity suppliers that may be able to offer better prices, better terms to these end users. So that will translate to better service and more affordable rates for the end user.
And right now, you can only choose your generation company yung magsusupply sa'yo ng electricity if you're certified as part of the contestable market. Ano po yung threshold ngayon para ma-qualify ka sa contestable
right now,
market?
We're in the cusp of actually already bringing it down to household level. The ERC has recently rolled out the retail aggregation program where some end users can join or band together and they will be supplied by a common supplier.
So let's say ako, I can talk to yung mga kapitbahay ko
Yes, that's
para
correct.
mag-combine yung usage namin, average monthly usage, to qualify for
Yes.
the contestable market.
Yes,
And
that's
then,
correct.
kung gusto namin, kunwari 5 kaming magkakapitbahay, if we want a renewable energy supplier, pwede rin. Or if we want to choose someone na mas mura yung presyo ng kuryente.
That's correct.
Doon kami.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. I hope that's possible. Does this require legislation or kaya po ng ERC rules
It's
lang?
with ERC now to determine the timing of when it can be brought down. The EPIRA already gave that discretion to the ERC. So we're just looking at the issues, how we will be able to address some issues that will arise if we would have more and more participants in the retail or in the contestable market.
Okay. What will make this change contentious at the moment? Meron ba mga distribution utilities that will push back? For example, Meralco, they have a big share of the market. They probably wouldn't like this kung may mga customers sila na didiretso na dun sa supplier.
No, in terms of distribution service anyway, it will still be the distribution utility like Meralco that will provide the wheeling or the distribution service to this contestable market. What will just change is the supplier. So Meralco or other distribution utilities will no longer include that customer that opted already out of the captive market in its procurement. So one of the issues, of course, would be the existing contract of distribution utilities because they entered into long-term contracts.
Yeah.
And if some of their customers will leave them, will switch to the contestable market to another supplier, then that would mean they may have some stranded contracted capacities, which will be, of course, carried by, in terms of cost, will be carried by their captive, their remaining captive. So we do not want that. We do not want to burden the remaining captive customers of the distribution utilities.
Kasi sila naman yung tataas yung presyo for
Yes,
them.
that's correct.
Okay, so that's something
So
you need
really
to figure
have to
out.
balance that.
Okay. Sige, let's choose another category. Okay, let's see this. What powers you? Okay, so this is more personal question. Habits or values that help you focus and recharge during challenging times?
I dive.
Oh, you're a scuba diver.
Yes, I swim. I bike. What else? Maybe to name a few.
Okay. So, Charlino, you're very athletic pala and active, especially when it comes to water sports. So
Yes.
how long have you been scuba diving?
I've been scuba diving since 2009. So I started, in Anilao. And then when I got my advanced open water, then I've been to a lot of different places already. So
Bakit po kayo mahilig sa mga sports related to the water, like swimming, diving?
diving, because it's a different world down there. So only a few would be able to enjoy that scene. And I'm one of those lucky few that are able to go diving. Well, for swimming, because that was advised, it is a good form of exercise because I'm quite huge. So I was advised to swim. So,
Are you worried that once you start officially as ERC Chairperson, mawawalan po kayo ng time for your outdoor activities?
I'm a little worried, siguro at the start, because I will have to devote really all my waking hours to work at ERC. But then after things are settled down, I'll include that in the schedule, in my daily schedule, going to the gym and swimming, and on weekends probably continue diving or doing long rides.
Okay,
on
so that's
bicycle.
good. Are you going to encourage work-life balance also with
Yes,
your
yes.
employees at ERC?
Yes, when I was at ERC before as executive director, we would go on hiking. I was able to make budol some employees there, and we joined the triathlon,
Oh, wow,
Ironman. So we finished twice. We participated in the 70.3 Ironman in Kamsur and Cebu. So I was able to invite some of my co-employees at ERC.
At least nasama nyo sila dun sa health
Yes.
advocacy. Okay, let's get another category po. Okay. What's in a weekend? So from your other habits and sports, how do you spend your Saturdays and Sundays in your household?
I'm rarely in the house on weekends if I am not going on biking or long trips. I go to the province. We have a small place in down there in Quezon. So we stay there with my wife, and sometimes the kids would also stay with us.
So taga Quezon po kayo?
I adopted.
Adopted. And how long have you been married with your wife?
Almost 30 years. We got
wow.
married 1996 at
So yung
Cagayan de
mga-
Oro City.
Paano po kayo nagkakilala?
We were classmates at UP.
Sa law school.
Yeah, first year.
Wow.
First year College of Law, we were already together.
Oo. Sino po ang unang nagkagusto sa... Sino yung may
cannot
crush muna?
remember anymore.
I'm sure it was you. Kasi para sino yung nanligaw, di ba? But
Yeah, first.
it started like first year pala.
Yeah, we were seatmates because our surnames both start with J. So we were seatmates. And alam mo naman, sa law school, magraradyuhan, tulungan. So, and then our entire row, we became very close friends.
Oo. Tsaka sa law school, no, yung yung seat mo sa first day, it tends to be your seat for the
Forever,
rest of
yes,
the
yes.
year. Tapos with your block pa, parang
Yeah.
nakakopy na siya kahit saang pumunta
That's
kayong
correct.
classroom. But your kids, malalaki na po ba sila?
Yes, they're both graduates already. One from Ateneo, the other is from UP.
Did anyone follow in your
No,
footsteps? to become a
unfortunately.
lawyer?
But I'm still trying to convince my eldest.
And are they all supportive of you being in public service?
Yes, they are. But I just told them, if you'll see some posts, or just ignore the posts.
But why do you say ignore the post? Have you experienced bashing in the past because of your job?
No, when I was recently announced as the incoming chair, so there I did an interview, and I think it was posted. That interview was posted in Facebook, and then of course cannot prevent these
Mga
active
comments.
commenters. So
Yeah.
they made some nasty comments, but told them it's part of the job.
Yeah. Are you prepared to
Yes, I am.
be bashed and receive
Yes,
nasty
yes,
comments? So
yes.
that's okay,
It will
par
not
for the
affect
course.
me. It will not affect
Okay.
me. Yeah.
And when you said na adopted po kayo ng Quezon, saan po talaga ang probinsya ninyo?
I grew up in Pasig, so I don't have a province. But for several years, I lived in Cagayan de Oro City. I was also an adopted son of Cagayan de Oro City because my wife is from there, and we practiced there for a while.
And you speak Bisaya?
A little, yes.
That's good. Sige po, let's choose another category. Okay. Ninigyan pa ng paperclip. Okay. Light bulb idea. So, when did you decide that you wanted to take up law?
I think since high school, I already wanted to become a lawyer. So when I took the entrance exam for UP, I chose political science. I thought that was the best pre-law. And so after that, I tried the LAE, and I passed the LAE.
Were you the first lawyer in the family?
Yes, I am.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And your parents, ano po sila?
My mom is a retired public school teacher. My father is a Filipino writer and
wow.
Journalist.
So that you have very smart genes, kaya pala.
Yes,
And,
yes.
yung dati po saan nagsusulat yung dad mo? As a Filipino
Taliba.
writer?
Sa Taliba. And
wow,
he was actually a recipient of various awards from Palangka, Sanaysay, short story, all in Filipino.
Okay, well, writing is a big advantage when it comes to law.
Yes.
Nagpapatulong po ba kayo sa dadyo dati in terms of getting writing style tips?
He writes in Filipino. I got some of his talent in writing Filipino when I was in college, because in college, political science, I can answer in Filipino the
wow.
questions, the essay questions
That's great.
in
Well,
political
in
science.
law school, we never had an energy law subject.
Yes,
When I started practicing law, and then I had to work dun sa mga privatization of generation power plants that were being bidded out. For me, I had to take a crash course practically for myself
Yes.
to study energy law. But for you, back in the 90s lalo, it was...
There was none.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Less
I was also
reference. So
self-taught.
how did you end up in the energy sector?
It's funny. I decided to try it out with the ERC. I joined ERC November 2003. And then the following month, as attorney for, the following month, I was promoted already to General Counsel. And then a few weeks later, we had a case in the Supreme Court, Freedom from Debt versus ERC. And there was oral arguments. And I represented ERC because the OSG decided to take up the role of Tribune of the People. So I was able to argue in the Supreme Court. And to be able to argue there, I had to do a crash course on ERC, energy regulation, and EPIRA.
Yeah, the EPIRA law.
Yes.
But how old were you back then? That must have been daunting, no? Doing oral arguments in the Supreme Court.
Yes, so that was 2004. 2004, so you can just imagine 20
You were in your
years.
30s?
30s, yeah.
30s?
Early
Grabe.
30s,
For a lot
yes.
of lawyers, di ba? Sabi
That is
nila,
the-
peak yan ng career mo
Yeah.
if you do oral arguments in the
Yeah.
Supreme Court. And what type of cases did you handle after that? Did you stay on with ERC?
I stayed on for more than 10 years. I had the opportunity again to argue in the Supreme Court in 2013, 2014 when we had the Wesem spikes. So again, the Solgen didn't represent ERC, so I had to argue on behalf of ERC.
In those cases na nag-oral arguments kayo, nanalo po ba ang ERC?
It's a tie. Because in the first case, if you will read Freedom from Debt, what was in issue is the authority of ERC to issue provisional relief. That was upheld. In the second the oral arguments, the issue there was the staggered collection by Meralco of the sudden increase in its generation cost. We were upheld in terms of allowing Meralco to recover. But unfortunately, because ERC subsequently issued a March 3 order that set aside the market rates during that period, that order was set aside also by the Supreme
Okay.
Court.
And in your experience po ba, napansin ko maraming nagiging ERC chairperson na lawyer ang background. We've had Attorney Agnes de Vanadera, Attorney
Yes.
Mona Lisa de Malanta, who you are
Yes.
succeeding. Is it normal or is that more the common practice sa ERC na lawyers ang mga nagiging chairperson?
Yeah, for some reason, that was written into EPIRA, that for you to become a chairman, the qualification is you must be a member of the bar and must have practiced for at least 10 years. So all the chairpersons of ERC
Really need to
since
be a lawyer.
the time of Attorney Barin, Chairman Fe Barin, the first chairperson, were all lawyers.
But based on what you've seen, because you've been in the ERC for tagal na, over 20 years? I mean, counting from the time when you started, mukhang talagang importante yung law degree when it comes to being the chairperson for the ERC.
ERC kasi is a quasi-judicial, quasi-legislative body. So you will really need background in law for you to be able to preside over the meetings and hearings of ERC.
Well, let's take the last category
Alright.
po,
Okay.
Chairman Nino. Okay. So, this, I believe, is a more personal question. Power trip, childhood memories. So, you mentioned earlier that you were raised by parents. You have a public school teacher, mom, and also a writer, dad. What was it like being raised by them? How did they raise you as a child?
They were both working when I was little, but I grew up with relatives, with a first cousin, that every time after school, we would play together. So then my mom will fetch me in the house of my cousin, and then we go home.
Wala po kayong kapatid?
I have, we are 5 in the family. I have 4 siblings, but the 2 are older, the 2 are younger. So I'm the middle child.
Pareho pala tayo, middle child. Pero yung mga iba malayo po yung agwat sa inyo. So wala kang kalaro na ka-age.
Ka-same age.
Oh, and would you say that your parents were strict or disciplinarians? What was their style as parents?
They're not really that strict. Except that my dad, you can say that he is a disciplinarian.
Among your siblings, did anyone also become a lawyer, or what type of professions did they pursue?
Our eldest is a doctor. The second is a violinist and pianist.
Wow.
And then our youngest is a rescue nurse. And the second, the one next to me, is based now in the States.
Okay. So, lahat po kayo mga exceptional professions. So, right now, let's talk about your appointment as ERC Chairperson. You were with the ERC for decades prior to being appointed as Chairperson. Can you describe your previous roles with the ERC? You were General Counsel and then you became Executive Director.
Executive Director. So, I acted like the COO of the ERC. So I see to it that all the decisions of the ERC are implemented. The decisions are written and then promulgated on time. Then the cases that have to be evaluated and presented to the commission, that they are being evaluated on time. So that was my role as Executive Director. But I was also designated as spokesperson concurrent with my position as Executive Director. So I was tasked also to appear in interviews, also in congressional hearings.
Okay. And you mentioned that you left ERC at some point after being Executive Director. So at what point did you leave ERC?
That was end of 2015. So starting 2016, I was a consultant. I worked as a consultant for Senator Win Gatchalian. Then I was included as part of the PEMC transition team that studied the transition of the independent market operator, into an independent one. So we formed the independent electricity market operator of the Philippines, and I served as the first president of the independent market operator.
When did you go back po to the ERC?
This August 8, I will be back.
So, first time you babalik ever since 2015. Paano po kayo na-discover para maging ERC chairperson? I mean, were you in the radar? Matagal nyo na po bang kilala si President Bongbong Marcos?
No, I've not met him. I actually applied for the vacant position of commissioner. So, I was called to an interview, and I was interviewed. And after a while, I was again called to another interview. And then this time, I was informed that I am being considered for
Sino pong
the
nag-interview sa inyo?
I don't know if I am at liberty to disclose. So
But it was someone from Malacanang.
I went through the process. So
Yeah.
I submitted an application for commissioner, submitted my CV and my PDS, and I got
But that's interesting. At least there's, the selection process is really based on merits. Like you can apply and then you get called for interviews. So not just, it's not based on connections.
Yes, I think,
so, pero
I would
hindi
think so.
po si PBBM ang nag-interview sa inyo?
No.
Not at any point?
No.
Nagulat po ba kayo nung kayo yung pinili?
Yes. I was really surprised. It was not what I aimed for.
Yeah.
But I guess God has His reasons, and that this is the opportunity that was given to me to be able to give back, to be able to serve our country. Then I am taking advantage of this opportunity.
Did you hear of who the other contenders were for the chairperson
except
position?
for those that you can read in the newspaper, I don't have any first-hand knowledge.
Sino po ba yung mga nasa newspaper na contenders?
So, Mr. Attorney Jomar Castillo, and Yusek Andres, and Cyril Del Car. I think it's in Bilyonaryo also, the article.
Yeah. Mga ano rin ba sila? Do they have experience in the energy sector as well?
I know Yusek Del Callar because he was Yusek at the time I was with ERC. Mr. Attorney Del Castillo, I have not worked with him, but I know of him.
And do you have any prior personal friendship or relationship with Chairwoman Mona Lisa de Malanta?
When I was executive director, actually she was with PJS, and I think one time we had a meeting in my office. Then after that, when she was already the chair, we visited her with my group, the CSV. It's a consulting group for a project known as for study on the just energy transition.
What is now happening with that, yung just energy transition?
I think government is pursuing, decarbonization by enticing the entry of more and more renewable indigenous sources of energy. So I still don't know if there are concrete programs already on what to do with the existing coal plants. But, I will take a look at that.
Well, the ERC is one of the very important agencies in the Philippines that sets the rates for
Yes.
power or approves yung mga pag-increase ng presyo ng kuryente. So, how do you intend to ensure that ERC operates free from undue political influence moving forward? But before you answer this question, we'll have to take a short break. At the Forefront, we'll be right back. Welcome back at the Forefront. Chairman Nino, how do you intend to ensure that ERC operates free from undue political influence moving forward?
Well, we're an administrative body, so we're supposed to be basing our decisions on substantial evidence. So we cannot just pluck the numbers out of thin air. So everything will have to be supported by evidence, by studies, rate studies, and all. So our decisions, if we do not do that, can always be challenged and reversed on appeal. So we have to be very careful with our decisions. We have to make sure that it is solidly grounded on evidence so that there's stability also in the rates that we set.
In your experience, Chairman Nino, have there been instances in the past that there would be some political pressure for the ERC not to approve rate increase? Or baliktad naman, that you get influenced or also pressured from the private sector to raise the rates, taasan yung presyo from, of course, the generation plants or even the distributor utilities?
Well, I've not encountered that pressure. I guess the administration, whoever is in power, would know the role that ERC serves. The ERC was created to be a strong and independent body for it to be able to assure investors that it will not succumb to such pressures. And it is important to maintain that independence so that we can create that environment for our investors so they continue on investing and we are able to bring down the risks associated with their investments, and so we also are able to bring down the cost of capital that they bring in.
Prior to you succeeding as ERC Chairperson, Chairwoman Mona Lisa de Malanta was preventively suspended by the Ombudsman at some point.
Yes.
And after she resigned, there were also other commissioners that resigned, so there was a lack of quorum. Do you see any challenges with now succeeding after that type of environment?
The two other commissioners, they actually retired. So they were able to serve the 7-year term of their office. It was only Chair de Malanta who resigned. So now that we will be a new commission of 2 original or senior members and 2 new members plus myself, I think because we would already have a quorum, so it will not be a problem in terms of preparation or briefings for the new commissioners. I suppose it is ongoing now, and so when I report for work on August 8, I intend to call for the first commission meeting under my term the following week. And hopefully, we will all be able to participate already in the deliberation. So there will be no gap, there will be no downtime. It will be business as usual, but we will have to do more for ERC because of some criticisms that that we would hear in the past, that cases have been languishing at ERC, a lot of CAPEX applications have not been resolved, rates have not been reset. So we will have to address all these things.
What is your number one priority?
One
you
is the
start?
resetting of the rates, because the rates of our private utilities have not been reset, have not been revised since more than 10 years ago.
So yung pag-revise po, do you see that as increasing or reducing the rates of electricity for end consumers?
One is, it is actually the process where we would know what the reasonable costs of these utilities should be. Because right now, because their last rate cases were done more than 10 years ago, we do not know if the rates that they have been implementing would be just enough for them to recover their cost and earn a reasonable return. So that is the purpose of having the rate resets soonest. Then second, of course, would be the power supply agreements. We will have to resolve the pending power supply agreements, because they tie up the investment in generation. We would have to attend to the CAPEX applications, because our utilities, they would need to implement already this CAPEX project, so that once the generation comes in, there would be already the lines, associated lines to accept the electricity that will be generated, or if there is increase in load, there will be new CAPEX to address the increase in load.
Okay. Would you know what caused the delays in the past?
I don't know. Probably it is the focus or the prioritization. But I cannot speak for the past. But what I can say, what I will bring to the commission, or what I will propose to the commission, because I will just be one of the 5, is for us to revisit our philosophy. What do we really want as regulators? Because like there was a study that the regulatory risk right now, if you will factor in all the delays, all the uncertainties, that could amount to 1 peso per kilowatt hour, just because of these uncertainties.
Because of the delay
Yes,
of the
that's
ERC
correct.
in deciding.
Yes. And then, of course, that delay would also mean delay in putting up new plants or in the entry of new generation capacities. So all these delays have costs. So if the evaluation done by ERC is that strict or rigid, well, that may serve its purpose of bringing down or lowering the rate that will be approved for that particular. But in the process, it creates distortion, it creates additional costs, delays, and uncertainties.
Did you attend the SONA of the President po yesterday?
No, I just watched
You
from
watched
the
it.
House.
What aspect of his statements relating to energy, because he did mention energy, diba, na he wanted reliable energy for the Philippines. Anong portion po sa SONA niya do you think ERC has a role to fulfill any of his plans for the country when it comes to energy?
Of course, facilitating the entry of new generation capacities. So that would mean we have to we have to be on time in terms of delivery of service, the issuance of permits, issuance of certificates of compliance. For the net metering and the solar home systems, there's also a permit that is secured from ERC. Then, so we have to actually timely deliver this service, the issuance of these permits. In terms of investigation, monitoring our off-grid, like so as to prevent that which happened in Siquijor, then we will have to revisit our regulatory framework for the off-grid, because that may happen also in other off-grid areas, not just in Siquijor. So the NPPs, or the new power providers in these different off-grid areas, they will have to assure their consumers, their customers, that they are maintaining their power plants so that they can continue delivering to them.
And sa inyong experience po ba, what causes the energy in the country to be expensive? I mean, Philippines is known to have one of the most expensive rates, electricity rates in Southeast Asia. Ano po ba yung nagkukos ng mataas na presyo sa atin ng kuryente? And what can be done to lower the cost of electricity?
Well, we depend on imported fuel. So if we are able to develop more and more indigenous sources of energy, then at least we are we are insulated from any drastic changes in energy prices worldwide. So we have to make sure also that we have enough capacities coming in at the right time. We cannot just rely on what we have because there's a lead time. So if we see based on the forecast that the demand in the next 3 years will already be this much, then as early as now, new generation capacities will have to be built. It's the only way that we can assure that there will be no like spikes in WESM, because we have encountered spikes in WESM whenever there are shortages in supply. So if we are adequately covered in terms of supply, then we are able to maintain a stable environment or stable rates for our generation, and with competition trying to bring down, because when we have several power companies with capacities and they want to have a bigger market share, then they will try to outbid each other and offer the best price for the consumers.
So you think that can really
Yes.
lower the cost of electricity?
Yes, that is the rationale behind the restructuring and introduction of competition, bringing down prices through competition. But we have to remain vigilant in terms of their behavior for the competitive sectors, so as to prevent market power abuse. And for the regulated sectors, we have to continue regulating their rates and see to it that they only recover what is their just and reasonable rates and allow them to earn a reasonable return.
Speaking of just and reasonable rates, nagka-issue po before on the FCRA, yung fuel cost recovery adjustment, wherein some of the distribution utilities passed on yung additional cost. I think this was because of the Russian-Ukraine war, nung biglang tumaas yung fuel cost. They started adding that cost dun sa mga consumers, yung mga power producers din, yung FCRA, Fuel Cost Recovery Adjustment.
Yes.
And I think that ERC already came out with a decision that this was not allowable.
Unfortunately, that decision of the ERC was overturned by the Court of Appeals, invoking the principle we have in civil law, change in circumstances, because that really is an unusual. So that is something that was beyond the contemplation of the parties. So the Court of Appeals, which was later on affirmed by the Supreme Court, ruled that the parties to that contract can negotiate and agree to the imposition of that adjustment.
You mentioned earlier po na kayo, one of the things that you want to do is really to speed up the decision of the ERC,
Yes.
because this adds to the cost of electricity
Yes,
as
that's
well.
correct.
You are innovating this 30-day rule wherein if something is enacted upon in 30 days, then it's deemed approved. Is that correct?
We're aligning it to the existing law right now, the
On
EVOS. The EVOS, when I was with Senator Win, actually we worked on this EVOS law. There are timelines there where if the government office in charge of the issuance of the permit isn't able to issue it within that period, then there is automatic approval. I am looking at applying the same principle to the existing or pending cases. Then also that will force us to take a look at the pending and then prioritize those that will really need deliberation by ERC.
Yeah.
Because some of the other cases are the usual cases and there will be no issue. So it's just a matter of completing the evaluation memo and then having it included in the commission agenda, deliberated upon, and then the decision is written and promulgated.
Okay. Well, Chairman Nino, to get to know you better, we'll ask you categories and you give us your top 3 answers. So we'll start with first, top 3 lessons you learned from working inside ERC all these years.
You cannot do it yourself. You have to work with your colleagues. And sometimes the office is a fun place to be. 3 qualities? What?
No, hindi po. 3, sige, top 3 lessons pa rin. Yeah.
And sometimes there are failures, but you just have to learn to lick your wounds and get up and move on.
Okay. I love yung sa office Sometimes the office is a fun place. Sometimes lang.
Because most of the time you're working.
Yeah, that's true. But you can make work fun siguro.
Yeah.
If you're... Okay. So next category, top 3 qualities every regulator should have.
Well, you have to be open-minded. You have to good at listening. And you have to be patient.
Okay, very good advice po yan for all the managers out there. Okay, top 3 power sector challenges today.
Well, power rates, then energy security, and bringing in more investments to the power sector.
Okay. Top 3 songs or artists on your playlist right now.
Andrea Bocelli, Josh Groban. Who else? In my playlist. One is religious song, so I don't know the singer.
Hillsong or no? Or no. So mahilig kayo sa mga more like ballads and
that's correct.
no.
I used to sing at UP. I was part of Singing Ambassadors.
Oh,
and
wow.
then at the College of Law, Charivari.
Charivari. I was gonna say, when you said you sing Charivari.
Yes.
Oh, ang galing naman. So you have also a talent for singing. Dapat pala ipa-sample namin kayo mamaya, if that's okay with you. Okay, top 3 things people would be surprised to know about you.
To know about me? I'm an open book, so they would know. Cannot think
Any
of...
quirks, any habits that you have, weird habits?
I snore. Only my wife would know.
Okay. Unless you take a nap in the office. Yeah.
What else? I can't think of any.
Wala kayong mga rituals na kakaiba?
Wala.
Kahit skincare before you go to sleep or or
Wala,
mga superstitions that you follow, superstitious na meron kayong lucky charm na tinatawag mga ganun. Wala naman. Talaga. So open book ha.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's good for people in the ERC to know.
Yeah.
Okay, top 3 champions of the Philippine energy sector, past or present?
Champions, personalities.
Sa Philippine energy sector.
I think si Dr. Viray. I've met him before. Who else? My chairman, Chairman Ducut. She was the only one that finished the 7-year term so far.
So far, ganun pala. Bakit mahirap matapos yung chairperson's 7-year term?
I don't know if she's just lucky or the others are unlucky.
But are there a lot of politics inside the ERC or even outside that influences the leadership? Bakit hindi natatapos yung 7-year term?
I don't know with the others. But of course, we can read up on the one that happened after Chair Ducut, the problems that we had with the ERC then. That's it.
Oh.
The third, I can't think of any.
Yeah. But Chairman Nino, even for me, I worked also, I did a lot of energy projects as a lawyer. And mga ERC commissioners and chairperson, before I would hear that it's a very lucrative post. So parang it's a post that's really being aspired for at pinag-aagawan because sabi nila, lucrative post yan. Sabi, bakit naman? Because they said like there's a lot of money involved, of course, when you approve rates because a lot of the distribution utilities or power companies stand to make a lot of money based on the rates that's approved. So how do you intend to isolate yourselves from, that type of potential corruption that goes with the post? But before you answer that question, we'll have to take a short break. At the Forefront, we'll be right back. Welcome back at the Forefront. Chairman Nino, we were discussing earlier that marami nagsasabi the ERC commissioners and chairperson have very lucrative posts. Kaya pinag-aagawan daw itong mga pwesto na to. But how do you intend to isolate your position from potential issues of corruption, lalo na since you have this big role of setting the rates for electricity where distribution utilities and power companies stand to make a lot of money?
Well, of course, we have to always implement the law in terms of our decisions. So we have to just decide based on merits, based on the evidence. There are also rules on ethics like 6713 that will apply to government employees. So we have to be mindful always, all the time, of what the requirements are and what is expected of us. The power industry is a small industry such that if anyone of us would, resort to that, it will spread across and, it can cause your downfall. And I would not want to leave that as a legacy. My legacy would be after 4 years, I would have already resolved all the backlogs. I would have already paved the way for future resets. And somehow, I would have improved the image of ERC and uplifted the welfare of the ERC employees.
And you were announced as the new ERC chairman on July 17 by President Bongbong Marcos. But you said earlier that your role will really start on August 8. In the interim po, sino ngayon ang acting chairperson for the ERC?
The chair is still there, Chair Dimalanta. So we will have a turnover on August 7, her last day. That will mark my first day, the following day.
At nakapag-meeting na po ba kayo?
Yes,
ni
we discussed
chairperson?
transition issues, so we will have a seamless turnover of functions.
And how is she with regards to you, cordial relationship?
Yes.
Kasi magkakilala na kayo from before.
We knew each other from before, and we're both also from UP. And also you.
Yes, I'm also UP. So now let's go to completing a sentence so that we want to get to know you better as well. So here, first, this is more about you as a person po. So just complete it with the first words that come to your mind. Okay, first sentence. My morning isn't complete without?
Coffee.
Coffee. You're a coffee person pala.
Yes.
At work, most people think that I am?
Suplado.
If I had 1 extra hour a day, I'd spend it?
Feeding my koi.
You have koi also?
Yeah.
Kala ko sasabihin nyo, diving. So mahilig talaga kayo sa mga sea creatures, water as well. The last thing I usually watch or read before bed is?
Watch?
Or read?
Evening prayers. Catholic evening prayers.
Oh, wow. So you're really very religious. I'm at my happiest when?
I feel good. No pain.
No pain. But bakit do you get injured po? Or?
I have a lower back problem, spondylolisthesis. So from time to time, sumusumpong. So I feel pain in my lower back and also in my spondylosis.
Was that caused by an injury or
supposed to be
congenital?
the injury or the condition of lawyers when you're slumped and then the posture is bad.
Yeah, oo. Kaya importante rin na you always walk and not just sit the whole day. Yes. A hobby I wish I had more time for is?
Cycling.
Cycling.
Yeah.
If I could instantly master one skill I'm not good at, it would be
Playing the cello.
cello.
Yeah.
Ang galing.
I have a cello in the house.
Okay.
I used to play violin.
So you're very musical as well, ah? You sing, and then you play the violin, and you play the cello. So you and your other sibling po can perform.
Yeah. My sister plays the piano and the violin, and my niece, she graduated from UP violin.
Wow. Do you perform for your family? Kayo po, when you're all
Sila
together?
lang, sila lang. I sing.
You sing. Ah, wow. My go-to comfort food is
Adobo.
adobo, very classic Filipino. The most mesmerizing province I've seen in the Philippines is
Siquijor.
Siquijor. Yeah, it is beautiful.
Nice
no?
diving.
Yes, I know. I was gonna say I've gone there because I went diving. Okay. What message would you like to give to Filipino consumers and stakeholders on the future of energy regulation in the Philippines?
Well, the ERC exists to protect and promote the consumer interests. And to be able to do that, we have to take a look at all the stakeholders, from generation down to distribution and supply. So if we are able to take care of all the stakeholders and perform our mandate, we surely would be able to protect and further the interest of consumers.
Are you optimistic po na kayang babaan ang presyo ng kuryente sa Pilipinas?
Yes, but it will not happen overnight. We have to work hard towards that goal.
Okay. And because we don't have any time left, in a few words, what is something that you would do differently from all the other past ERC chairpersons?
Well, I will give it my 100%. I will work with the commission, work with staff, so we are able to deliver on our targets and our goals.
Thank you so much, Chairman Nino. It was a pleasure to get to know you. Scuba
Thank you.
diver, singer, cello
Yeah.
and violin player, and now ERC chairman. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time po.
Thank you, Attorney Karen.
Attorney Francis Juan steps into the role of ERC chairperson with a clear agenda, faster processes, stronger consumer safeguards, and a renewed push for transparency. His quiet resolve and deep institutional knowledge signals a steady hand in a sector long plagued by delays and distrust. The country's energy regulation may hopefully be on the path to both accountability and reform. Be timely informed, be insightful of the news, always stay at the forefront. Join us again tomorrow for meaningful insights on issues that matter. This is Attorney Karen Jimeno. Thank you for spending your hour with us.